Hi everybody, welcome to G for G here on YouTube. Today we are in DC Legends, game that I haven't done a video on for a while, but it's definitely in the back of my head at all times. With Marvel Future Fight going through a maintenance update right now, I figured I had one of two videos that I wanted to make. Either what I would like to see from gaming in 2018 or in the gaming world, or do a video on DC Legends and my PvP team that I've been using for a long time. And I've decided I will do a DC Legends PvP video instead. So just briefly, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up my green updates for that daily. Check my mail, see how I did with yesterday's alliance bonuses. It was a PvP daily, but fortunately, it was a PvP daily with a couple characters that I use routinely, so that was pretty easy. So today's daily is not PvP, it is Heroic Campaign. That's pretty good for me. I've got a good katana. I have not used that Green Lantern a whole lot, but my Robin is in decent shape, and that Batman is in decent shape. I guess I could bump up little tiny Superboy a little bit so that I get the 5-piece, or the 5-point over there. But, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys my PvP team that I've been using for a long time. And there are actually a couple of variants that I can do with it. It's a semi-modular team, although I like to keep it intact as much as possible, but some things could even be flipped around with it. So for the purpose of this video, I'll go ahead and tackle somebody somewhat close to my level, so that it's not just a walk in the park. So here is my PvP team. It is actually it's a 3-star Broccoli. He's ready for an update. I had him ready for the update the other day, but I had already done an update for the daily, so I like to save it. As tempting as it is to update somebody that you really, really like and is such a major factor, I had already updated somebody, and I like to spread out my upgrades on people like that. This way, I get credit for it day after day during a week instead of stacking like 2 people, 3 people on the same day. So, as you can see down here, a lot of my high-level characters, we have Red Hood, we have Enchantress, we have Harley Quinn, we have Deathstroke, we have little Miss Shock Jock over there, Standard Green Lantern, a Huntress, a Batman, and a Penguin, and Wonder Woman tank, Poison Ivy. That's pretty much my high ones. Cyborg used to be pretty high for me. Cheetah's coming up a little bit. I like her strength. There's Supergirl. There's Robin at 2-star, which kind of baffles me. I don't know how I ever did that, but I did. There's Chumuk, Superman, and there's Lobo. There's that Katana. So that's kind of my power people, but my main team right over here is Broccoli leading with a 3-star Siren, a 1-star Dr. Poison, and a 2-star Zatana. That's kind of getting close to 3 stars. With Broccoli in the lead, I get a random ally gains 4% shield and 14% turn meter at the start of every ally turn. This actually happens to be really good for PvE, especially red alerts, because a lot of the shielding will carry over. However, there is another route that I can go with this if I wanted to, and that is Zatana as a lead. And what does that change? Well, with Zatana as a lead, all allies have a 34% chance to gain turn meter if they debuff an enemy. Well, she debuffs, she debuffs, she debuffs, and he does have a move that causes a debuff. So that is something else that I can do, is I could swap up the lead a little bit. It depends on if I just want to be more aggressive or more defensive. Here, a random ally is a 100, so 100% of the time, one of my characters is going to gain a 4% shield and a turn meter equivalent to Zatana's lead over here. The thing is, it is only a 34% chance to gain the turn meter, and it's only 1% more. So that means it's 34% for her, for her, for her. And don't fall into the gambler's fallacy that you're like, oh, I have 4 people. 4 times 34 is well over 100%. That means guaranteed one of my no. That's the gambler's fallacy over there. Each individual character has their own 34% chance. It's like a heads or tails flip. Zatana can get, you could be counting heads. Zatana can roll a tails, she can roll a tails, there's no guarantee that one of your characters, because it's not additive. So, keep that in mind over here. I kind of have had Broccoli in the lead for a long time. Zatana has definitely been there, and I'm sure if I wanted to go back and take a look at her team lead passive over here, we can bump it up a little bit. So at the next rank, it would be 36. It's not great, and it will never be super great, but, it's decent. So while I'm here, I may as well go ahead and do some stuff like that. And you can see how they place against my other characters. They're up at the top. Broccoli is ready for a bump over. I won't do it before the PvP in this video. But from what I'm eyeing over here, you gain 6 agility ups if he shields himself. Hypnotic Light does 5 strength downs. And this is a move that I honestly don't use that often. Team leader, a 1 agility up goes into this randomness. This is what I think I will do, is the Hero J586 and add an agility up. The reason being is that if I ever bring Cyborg into things, Cyborg likes when people buff themselves, and so does Aquatats. So having something like an agility up is a buff that sticks on somebody and becomes a visible buff, and it is something that Aquatats likes, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So here's Aquatats, and if we take a look at his abilities over here, turn meter plus 11% for each ally that takes damage, Stronger Unite, 75% chance for Aquaman to gain a crit chance each time an ally gains a buff on their turn. So with the agility up being a countable buff for that, that's something that does feed into Aquaman. And as for Cyborg, and taking a look at his abilities, Team Leader, all allies have a 30% chance to gain 8% turn meter if they are buffed. So Cyborg could be a lead. Well, the thing is that unfortunately conflicts a little bit over here because he has to be a team lead to give that out. So that one kind of doesn't work. Is Aquatats is just an ability, or is that a team lead? Because if that's a team lead too, then that one kind of fails. I might have screwed myself in that thinking. No. Okay, good. It's not a team leader ability. So Aquatats would be able to use it. Cyborg would not. There's a decent Harley Quinn over there. I don't want to go the cheese route and use Deathstroke. I mean, I'm sure I could. My Lobo is unfortunately not particularly weak. He's just, an average built-up Lobo. So here we are. I'm at 13,297. They're at 12,275. So it should be a win for me. However, Aquatats does occasionally bust out some ridiculously powered moves that just crush. I'll show you why I like this team so much. They just have really good synergy, and it's hard to get the upper hand on them because they have depth. So Siren's getting the first turn over here. I like to go for the Zatana if I can and get her out before she does a heal that unfortunately gets rid of all my bleeds. Kind of a standard attack from Aquatats, nothing to write home about. There goes Power Girl. She's another good one for Aquatats because that buffs her, and Aquatats likes that. So that ability from Broccoli now put a random mend out, and it went out on Zatana, which is pretty cool. Dr. Poison, her first ability for me always is Gas Grenade. So it applies 1 bleed to all enemies, 5% max health dealt as damage to the enemy team, additional light damage to the enemy team per bleed on the enemy team, 2 heal immunities. That is a huge key for this. The 2 heal immunities going out is really tasty. My Zatana is going to go after the enemy Zatana, who's probably going to bleed out. Their Penguin, of course, puts up some immunities. Zatana, unfortunately, did not bleed out, but she's going to die here. So, Zebel Fury is what you should do as her first legendary. Unfortunately, it was not my first, but I did eventually get around to it. Light damage to the enemy team, 5% increased damage per bleed on the enemy team, max 100%, apply 1 to 2 bleeds on the enemy team. So, really, really good anti-immunity here. Now, my team was not designed to be anti-immunity. It just happened. Due to the fact that bleeds work so well against it. So I'm going for Aquatats here because he does represent a really big threat. And hopefully he's just going to bleed out. Yeah, he bleeds out. Penguin on their side's been doing a reasonable amount of damage. Now, at this point, there's not much need for Dagger Deluge. This being legendary has a chance to apply Dagger Deluge as a follow-up. So why not? Here's where things are going to get a little tricky from my side. I could have Broccoli taunt, which will give himself a shield. I can have him hit another attack and give a mend. I could do the strength down, which is something I rarely ever do. And if somebody was super low, I can pop them with the will to live. That's why I like this team so much. If, like, my Zatana had 2 hit points or something right now, Broccoli would just make her immune. And another good thing about Dr. Poison is that the upgrade on this one splits off a bleed to a secondary target if the person I'm hitting is bleeding. At this point, I'm going to heal up. Their team is not much of a threat right now. Penguin's dead. He goes out with his little penguin rockets. And Power Girl bleeds out. The other thing that I like about this team... I mean, the team is just really robust. It really has a lot of interworking clock gears and puzzle pieces. Between Broccoli making anybody immune to death, I have a healer in Zatana, and I have a backup healer in Dr. Poison. Now, it's not something that happens often, but it occasionally does, especially if somebody wiped my Zatana off the map like a Batman. So here we are facing a complete legendary team, couple 2-stars, couple 1-stars, a Lobo, a Deathstroke, so this is definitely a meta to some people. However, Deathstroke just kind of falls apart against my team. Again, it wasn't intentional, but that meta grew up around my team, so my team was kind of this little oasis of, we don't care about immunities. Bleeds eat them up, and I put out so many fucking bleeds. So, going first is Wonder Woman. It's so weird to see a tank going first all the time like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus her, because she's going to start taunting anyway, so we will just predict the future and go for her. Yep, that's what we're looking for. Here's something that I sometimes get to do, sometimes not, is Hat Trick. On Zatana is really good for getting rid of buffs. So if I see an enemy team member have a lot of buffs on them that represents like a one-shot threat, I just get rid of it. Uh-oh. Yeah, I was expecting the damage there because he got a bunch of mends. But Siren's about ready to take somebody out. Uh-oh, he's buffed. Yeah, so at this point, if I think my Dr. Poison's gonna die, if Broccoli's healthy enough, I just tank. I'm going to heal early, so I can get rid of that silence. Not that it matters, because what I need from hers are level 1 anyway. I will go for Deathstroke. He represents a really big threat at this point. I mean, kind of sort of Bane does too, but the way he builds up his men stacks and everything, I kind of don't want to feed it. Let's see if we're going to get the bleeds. Yep. That's a common thing for Lobos. Bleeds on the one and bleeds on the motorcycle. At this point, I'm going to risk going for Lobo. I haven't had a Lobo res on me in a while, and so the risk paid off. And now we just have to deal with Bane alone. At this point, I can stab. I can throw another grenade if I wanted to. This acts as a heal, so 2% health healed per bleed on the enemy team. Looking at Bane right now, I mean, that would be a sizable heal. Just off of Bane alone, but we'll stab him to death. So that's the team that I use. It's, like I said, it works out really well with itself. It has good synergy. You have 2 healers. Zatana's the primary and can cleanse debuffs, but Dr. Poison provides a backup or a secondary heal. Some people say, hey, Nap, kind of looks like you're sandbagging over here. You're fighting, you know, people considerably lower levels than you. I'm not sandbagging on purpose, unlike, say, what a lot of people did in Marvel Avengers Alliance. It's just the fact that I don't care about PvP in this game, so I don't push. I do my 2 per day when it's not a PvP Alliance daily. When it is an Alliance daily, I look and see... what I like to do is I like to keep a lot of lobies on hanging around for those days, so that if I have to use some really weak characters, I have some people that I feel comfortable putting in like weak shits against. I sometimes do I don't know how. Yeah, I'm gonna revenge this one. I don't know how I lost to this one. These guys don't really seem that good, so I think I'll do another one in revenge. And we get to see what it's like to deal with a speedster. In this one, we've kind of been dealing with some tanky teams. Now we have a fast mover over here. And a lot of you are probably going to say, geez, Nap, your meta down there at the bottom in the pit is not at all what it's like up at the top. And I would definitely agree with you. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in the DC Facebook groups that I'm part of that if they saw this, they were like, you gotta be kidding me. Dude, you were dealing with, like, people just rolling dice and putting random teams together compared to what it's like at the top. So, Flash, gone. Don't really know. I mean, maybe this was not the team that actually fought me. But look, I mean, that Aquaman has no buffs and everything, and he did a sizable chunk of damage to Siren. One of the things that I am happy about with this team in recent weeks is that Siren's evasion stacks actually seem to be really working for her. I've seen more people miss Siren in the recent few weeks than I've had before. I was always like, man, she's building up evasion like Huntress, but I never see people whiffing on her as much as like a, you know, Harley Quinn or Huntress or Shock Jock, Lightning lady whose name escapes me right now. She is tough to hit when she gets her evasion going. She tends to annoy me when I run into her. And I know I could use her myself. I have a decently powered one. But Livewire, yeah. Livewire is one of those ones that when her evasion gets up there, I find her extremely tough to hit. And then Huntress would be, you know, second place behind that. Siren, always seemed to lag behind the evasion actually helping her out. And now I've just in the recent month or maybe 2018, it seems like it's really paying off. Sometimes Hal shows up for a PvP daily. He will take the place of Broccoli for me. He doesn't represent quite as much defense because of the fact that he doesn't taunt. And he's not the greatest of leads. All allies gain stun immunity 12%. The 12% shield is okay. The stun immunity I don't really run into too much, but I'm comfortable when I need Hal for a PvP daily. Batman will sometimes, he'll take the role of Dr. Poison. Enchantress doesn't show up too much, but if she did, I would have her in for Zatana, and I'd feel comfortable. I'd say my comfort level drops off right around Chummock a little bit. Poison Ivy is a lot of fun. I could certainly do some incredible wombo combos with her. But she's only a 1. I wouldn't mind getting her another star. She has some fun stuff to do. But kind of one of the things that people complain about with Poison Ivy is that she's slow. To that I say, hey, then don't use her on defense. Use her on offense where you can just get a better setup. And if you're going to wait that long for her to get her turn, at least in your hand, she'll do the right thing and not, like, make herself a taunter or something like that. But she is probably one of the craziest setup people in the entire game when you know what you're doing with her. I jacked my penguin up, not really too sure why I did that. There's some people that are kind of high up in power for me that somewhat surprised me. I am working Bane a little bit since he is so close to a legendary. And here's what the rest of my roster looks like right now. There's Aquatats, kind of low for being a 2-star. Pre-order Wonder Woman that I call Liberty Maid. Blue Beetle, I feel like I haven't seen Blue Beetle nearly as much in PvP anymore, which is fine because he always wrecks my fucking Broccoli. He loves chewing up Broccoli because of the shields. Steppenwolf, I think he's a fun character to use. I wouldn't mind giving him a lot of power at some point in the future. Never see Scarecrows anymore. I do see the occasional White Lantern. Nightwing I don't see that much anymore. Sometimes. Never see Superboy. I did see a Bizarro Cyborg Superman team the other day. You're getting used in the daily, so you're going to get a bit of a bump up over here. So that I can run some dailies with you. Broccoli's going to go to 3-star today, off camera. This poor Wonder Woman's a 1-star legendary. She's all the way down here. Doomsday. Black Canary. She just ranked up yesterday for my daily. Wow, I am only missing 1 character at this point. And she's so close too. Wow, I didn't know that my roster had gotten that complete. I thought I was still missing several. But, yeah, there we go. Green Lantern's going to get my rank up today. Hawkgirl's going to get it tomorrow. And so close. Thanks everybody for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments on the team I'm currently using, let me know. If you see a team as you're scrolling by, you're like, dude, you should do this, that, and the other thing. Why are you not using that? It's so fucking awesome. Let me know. Certainly up for hearing some advice over there. And my hero challenge, so where I am so far on this one is I'm up to part 11 over here. I don't think I'm gonna get another rank up out of her for this event, but well, maybe. We'll see. Thanks everybody. Peace out.